Good morning, everyone. I'm Jonathan Little. Hope you're having a great day. It's Wednesday, so it means I just returned from taking Mr. James to school. He likes riding a bicycle when he goes to school. They have it's a tricycle. He calls it a bicycle. They have a tricycle out front and 3 cars. And today he did not get to ride the tricycle because somebody else was on the tricycle. And then when he tried to go get in the cars, all the little cars were full. So then we climbed on the jungle gym, and he loves climbing on the jungle gym too. He hasn't quite figured out how to come down from that specific weird jungle gym yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Today, we're going to be discussing 3 skills of the biggest winners in poker. I think that's the title of this. Sure. 3 skills of the biggest winners in poker. And I actually had a little bit of difficulty coming up with the only 3 that I wanted to talk to, but I think I have them boiled down into 3 very, very important skills. So the first one, take a second, think about it. Think about it on your end. What do you think are the most important skills of a professional, or of the biggest winners? Well, I think number 1, without a doubt, is discipline. And I looked up the definition of discipline, and I'm not going to use that definition. I'm going to use the definition more of the willingness to do whatever you need to succeed, and that can take a lot of different forms, right? So, for example, when you are managing your bankroll, right? If you're disciplined, you will grow your bankroll. Here, Der Uber says, a lot of money helps. Well, no, not if you have discipline. I had no money when I started. I started with $50, and I literally never played a tournament with a buy-in higher, or a game higher than $200 buy-in, and I turned that $50 into $350,000. So I didn't have money, but I had discipline. I was on Jamie Staples' podcast yesterday, and he asked me, what were some things I did wrong at the beginning of my poker career? And I was sitting there thinking, man, I actually did a lot of stuff right. And how did I do a lot of those things right? I don't know. I was probably just lucky to naturally fall into the idea that you need to keep a proper bankroll, you need to study a lot, and you need to put in a lot of volume. Jay Nandez Poker here. Good morning, good morning. Looking forward to your PLO book. Happy we can make that happen. Notice here, a lot of you are saying the most important skills are things like being able to make big folds, or being able to make good calls or good bluffs, or cashing out your equity. No. All of these things are very short-sighted in my opinion. If you have good discipline, you will make the plays in-game that are the most profitable. You just will. That is what discipline is. Discipline is not nittiness. Don't think that being a weak, tight, passive player is being disciplined. No, that's being bad. Being disciplined is making the right bluff when it makes logical sense. And it is making the right fold when it makes logical sense, right? I think patience is just part of discipline, right? If you find yourself doing irrational things, either on the overly patient side or the maniacal side, you are screwing up. And if you look at a lot of the best poker players in the world, they have an immense amount of discipline. Is Jay Nandez here? Really? He is. He's here with us on Instagram. Jay Nandez is hardcore on the content creation grind, and he does great work. He put out 3 quotes on Twitter today. I thought they were all great. Check it out. What's his name on Instagram? I'm sure you can just search Jay Nandez. Jay Nandez Poker. Take a look. He has a Pot Limit Omaha book coming out soon from D&B Poker. So that's a lot of fun. So the best players are not sitting there thinking, oh, I'm mad because this guy 3-bet me the last 3 hands. They're instead thinking, I'm just going to play fundamentally sound and adjust accordingly, right? So you have to have an immense amount of logic in everything you do. And if you are disciplined, you will make the decisions based on logic. For example, let's say you go to the casino and you're going to go there for a dinner with some friends, not to play poker. You go there, you have dinner with your friends. Let's say you have 2 alcoholic beverages of your choice, and not a lot, but a little bit. You go to the poker room, and you see a very high-stakes game going that is softer than normal, slightly softer than normal. On a normal day, you would play it. But now you've had 2 drinks in you. Do you play the game? Well, it depends, right? And this is where knowing yourself and understanding your edge when it has been diminished a little due to drinking, understanding where you stand in that situation will allow you to know if you should play that game or not, right? let's say you're sitting in a spot on the river and you have the nut low and an obvious bluff spot. But based on your reads, based on your experience with your opponent, you think they're going to call. Well, what is discipline there? Is discipline making the bluff or not making the bluff? Discipline is making the play that you know you should make at that moment. And if you study significantly, you will know that in that spot, if you know your opponent's going to call a lot, it's probably okay to not have very many bluffs. Someone wrote jokes, and I said jokes. It's probably okay not to have very many bluffs. So maybe you just give up. Maybe you never bluff in that spot. Maybe that's the play that makes the most money, right? So you need to make sure that you have the ability to do what you need to do to succeed. And how do you know all of these good plays? And how do you know how to play well? Well, you have to study. And that brings me to point number 2, is the ability and willingness to learn from others. It's very, very important to realize that you do not know everything. Last night, Jamie Staples asked me what I thought about the coronavirus and will that impact the World Series of Poker? And you know what the right answer to that is? I think there's only one, yet it's not what you'll get if you ask most people. The answer to that question is I am not a doctor. I'm not a virologist or a scientist, and I have no clue. All I know is what I've been fed from social media, which is not accurate at all. And if you think that you're getting good, accurate information from social media about things that are happening in the world, well, you're probably being deceived. And same thing goes for most things, right? You have to realize that most people just don't know a whole lot about most things. And certainly, poker players don't know much about anything besides exactly poker. So many poker players think they know a lot about, insert any topic. Viruses, cryptocurrency, politics, religion, sports, right? Whereas in reality, they're pretty ignorant about a lot of these things. Now, obviously, you can be good at multiple things, right? You can devote a lot of time to many, many things if you feel inclined. But I know a lot of these people, and they don't know what they're talking about most things, poker included. Don't believe the hype. Well, sometimes hype is real and sometimes hype is not real, but I am not in position to tell you anything about a virus, right? And I realize this. So recognizing this, I'm not going to make the mistake, one way or the other, of giving information that is based completely on nonsense. And it's important to recognize that if you think that you know things based on nonsense, then you're probably not paying attention and you are being fooled into thinking that you are smart. A lot of people really want validation. They really want to feel like they know something that other people don't. But in reality, we don't, and that's okay. So, anyway, once you have the discipline, you know that you need to study. If you're bad at poker, or even if you're good at poker, you need to spend substantial time getting better at poker, right? Because if you're losing, there's no point in playing if you're losing because you're just giving away your money. So, study a ton. Study. Where do you need to be studying from? Well, people who are beating the games that you want to be playing, and people who have good frameworks that they can use to beat all the games, right? So you need to be open-minded and understand that you can learn from others. And even when you are observing the play of someone who maybe thinks not quite as good as you, maybe you can learn a few things. It's important to not underestimate people. Another, I'll call it a straight problem with the poker world, is everyone wants to poo-poo on everybody else and say that this player is not good or that player is not good. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have people like worshiping some people as if they're the best players ever, whereas in reality, everyone's kind of in the middle, you know? Certainly people can be very good and people can be very bad, but people seem to be very judgmental, very unnecessarily, and for no real reason. And you have to ask, why are they doing this? What is the purpose of this? And the answer is either they want to have some sort of like idol to latch onto when they like worship somebody, or they want to make themselves feel superior to others who have had successes that they have not had, right? And it's interesting the way humans work. So realize you can learn from many, many people. Obviously, don't think that what everyone does is accurate. You can learn from some people by realizing the things they're doing incorrectly, right? I mean, whenever I'm teaching recreational poker players, I'm learning from them. I'm learning quite often what some players are doing very, very wrong, right? And that's very beneficial. And if I see what the general player pool does wrong, that's going to allow me to adjust and exploit the general player pool better than everybody else, right? So realize you can learn from anything, or learn from anyone, and you need to make a point to learn from other people. Speaking of learning from other people, just the other day, I had Michael Acevedo. He wrote Modern Poker Theory, another D&B book. He gave me basically a private coaching session. And we're also doing another private coaching session tomorrow, except for it's not really private because all of you get to watch. Part one of that is on YouTube at youtube.com/pokercoaching, where I played probably a little bit too tight early in the tournament. And then towards the later stages, I think I probably played a little bit too loose. So you're going to see some pretty maniacal bluffs tomorrow. The webinar, I think, is when's the webinar? I don't know what time it is. 2 p.m. or 4 p.m. I would check my phone, but I'm streaming on Instagram. Anyway, it's available for Poker Coaching members. Go to pokercoaching.com/GTO right now to sign up. Let me see if I can find the date or the time. I know it's tomorrow. What I do every morning is I roll out of bed, I wake up, I look at the schedule, and I do that. All right, so for Poker Coaching Premium members, today we have Bluff Catching on the River with Matt Affleck. That is at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. But then tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to continue going through my deep run in a high-stakes online tournament against some of the best players in the world. And if you're a Poker Coaching member, it's included. So go to pokercoaching.com/GTO and sign up. And that's me, at least pretty good poker player, making a point to spend time and money learning from others. How frequently did I study when I was coming up? After I was already a good, solid winning player, I would play about 8 hours of poker a day, and I would study for about 6 hours a day. I did that every day for 3 years straight. What was my first upswing? I played small stakes games, and it was always kind of a nice slow trickle up. I never had like a big spike in a tournament. I mean, when I turned $50 into $350,000, I did that all by playing 9-person tournaments. So there never was a spike. It was just all grind, just pure grind. Are there any deals coming up for premium? I don't know. We have a current deal where you get Michael Acevedo's content plus Poker Coaching Premium at pokercoaching.com/GTO. We run all sorts of promotions and try to show you everything we have to offer at pokercoaching.com. Yeah, so how often did I study? 6 hours a day, every day for 3 years. One specific game, exactly sit and goes. But then when I moved to tournaments, I realized that, I probably need to learn how to play those. So I got a coach, right? I worked a pretty good amount with Dave Benfield, Tom Dwan. I talked poker with a lot of great players. Shannon Shore was another one of my good poker friends who's the best man at my wedding, and we all talked poker together and worked very, very hard to get better at poker. You are looking for a structured plan, go to pokercoaching.com/GTO, sign up, and go through the 30-day challenge. Do that immediately. What are some tips once you have a load of money from an upswing? Just keep playing your regular games and be smart. Especially if you've been getting lucky to have that upswing. Like, say you normally play $100 tournaments and you win $10,000. Let's say you win $100,000. Playing $100 games, you just get super lucky on some big tournament and you win $100K. Should you start playing $1,000 tournaments now because you have 100 buy-ins? No, because you're a $100 tournament player. You should slowly ramp it up, if anything. Do you have any expectations for how much you want to win at the end of a session? Absolutely not. You can't control that at all. Thinking like that will make you make very poor decisions. Because imagine, you just always wanted to leave the table a winner, like a lot of fish do. Well, if everyone folds, you just go all in on the first hand. You win the blinds and antes and you're up. Pack it up and leave. You're up every time. Until you're not. And then you lose a bunch of money. Didn't that exhaust you? What could you study for 6 hours straight? I didn't study 6 hours straight. I would play 4 hours. Then I would review every single game that I played using analytical software for the next 3 hours. So play 4, study 3, eat lunch, usually dinner. Play 4, study 3, go to bed. Did that every day for 3 years. Didn't that exhaust you? No, I was winning a load of money. I was a kid who had no great prospects. I was going to school to be an engineer where I'm going to make like $50K a year out the door. And I'm making like $30,000 a month playing online. Yeah, no, it wasn't exhausted because I was getting rich. Especially if you enjoy it. What kind of bankroll do you need? Go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll. What did I study? YouTube videos. They didn't have YouTube videos back then. YouTube didn't even exist back then. I studied books, but the books were not about the games I was playing. I studied using a program called Sit and Go Power Tools. Now there's ICMizer. It's way better. And it was tedious. To be fair, the 6 hours of study I did back then, I probably could have done in like 2 hours today, just because the tools are better, right? But nobody else was doing the study, which is why I crushed them all. What's my mindset before sitting down? Show up and play good poker. You have to realize that once you get a ton of experience, I don't actually think you need to focus all that much on mindset if you have a good, relatively natural disposition that you're not like going on tilt or anything like that. And I actually don't do a whole lot of prep anymore, but I've done loads in the past, and I would definitely suggest it for most people because most people have all sorts of stuff going on in life that distracts them, that makes them go insane, etc., etc. But like, if you told me I had to go play a $25,000 tournament right now, where I'm going to have an edge, presumably have an edge, I would be perfectly fine. I'd be perfectly happy, waking up, dealing with my kids, doing this little coffee show, and going to play a high-stakes tournament. And my ROI would be probably just a tiny bit lower than if I prepared decently well. Obviously, you'd rather like wake up, study a little bit, get everything off your plate. But I actually don't do a ton of prep. That said, I have 2 books on poker psychology, Positive Poker and Peak Poker Performance. I wrote those with Dr. Trisha Cardner. Check those out. Is a new book available yet? No, my new book, Excelling at Tough No Limit Hold'em Games, will be available in June. There it is. Excelling at Tough No Limit Hold'em Games. It is a good book. Good book. The book that I wrote because I wanted to learn a lot. Again, good example, me learning from others. So, first things first, you must be disciplined, which means you need to do what you need to do to get the job done. That discipline does not mean tightness and nittiness and weakness. Do not think that. Do not think discipline means folding and folding and folding poorly. It's not what discipline is. Discipline is playing well all the time. Next, you need to be willing to learn from others. That is highly important. Number 3. What's the third most important thing? I bet most people would not guess this if I gave them 50 shots. Where's my next live tournament? Probably the World Poker Tour Tournament of Champions. I'm going to Las Vegas on Friday. Speaking of which, there'll be no Little Coffee on Friday or Monday because I'm going to Las Vegas for a work retreat. I'm taking my employees out there for a work retreat / party. Also, the Global Poker Awards. Maybe we'll win Poker Personality of the Year. I don't think I'm going to win, but I could win. If I had to guess, I think I'm going to come in second. And there's no award for seconds. But I very easily could win. Personal guess, I think Joe Ingram's going to win. He's done a lot of great work this year. But I think I may. I don't know. It's tough to say. I think it will either be a blowout or it'll be close. That's the thing. Is either he's going to blow everyone out of the water with like 50% of the votes, or it's going to be like one of us 33, or one of us like 29 or 30, and the other one 29 or 30. Then I think the other 2 guys probably be more like 20-ish each. But we'll see. I don't know. You got first. I hope I got first. I've been in the top 4 for the last 3 years, and I have not gotten first yet. But we'll see. Anyway. Let's see. You did the 30-day challenge. You're going to go play your 3rd live cash game ever. What are 1 or 2 things you should try to get out of the game? Just go there and try to play. Get some experience. Where's your podcast with Joe Ingram? He hasn't had me on. Maybe one day. Maybe I need to have a podcast and have him on. Speaking of fun things we're doing, we're giving away a World Series of Poker. We're giving away, I can't say World Series of Poker. We're giving away a $10,000 main event seat in Las Vegas. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Got to figure out a way to give it to all of you. It's probably going to be semi-random. We're going to be working with a lot of other content producers to try to get in front of their audiences and give someone a chance to win $10,000 from me. Plus, lunch in Vegas, coaching sessions, etc., etc. So that'll be fun. You think about specific things during a hand. Yeah, what are the ranges and how do they line up against each other? You have trouble ranging and taking big preflop hands out of the range. Well, realize sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. You want to learn about bankroll management? Go to pokercoaching. Go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll. I'll type it in for you so that you can just click on it. Couldn't make it easier for you. There's a giant microphone in the way of my keyboard. jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll. Do you need to be in the U.S. to participate in the giveaway? No, absolutely not. Is there an award based on the thoughts of the best players? I think there actually is something like that. Like most feared player, something like that. Then they polled the top 100 players or something like that. How do you manage expenses? Does that come out of your bankroll? Yeah, of course. Any money that you spend to play poker comes out of your bankroll. Okay, let's get back to this. Number 1, discipline. Number 2, ability to learn from others. Number 3, I think, is empathy. Empathy is highly important. Now, empathy does not necessarily mean feeling bad for others. That is not what empathy means. Empathy, I'll look up the definition so I have this right. The ability to understand and share the feelings of others. That's what I mean by this. Well, it's important to realize where other people are coming from and how they think. If you don't understand how people think, or how companies think, or how things work, then you're going to have lots and lots of problems in life. On Jamie Staples' podcast yesterday, we were talking about how do you help the recreational players not lose so quickly. Well, it's very important to realize that if you want them to lose slower, how do you do that? Because they're the only ones putting money in, so you either need the winning players to win less, or you need the casino to rake less. One of the two. It's really your only two good options, right? So, as a player, as a pro, when the casino decides, we're not going to rake less, so the pros are going to win less. And they do that by changing structures of games. They do that by perhaps even raking more to make you quit, etc., etc. They have many ways to make the games more luck-based. They can change the structure. Like, look at what PokerStars has done, right? So many of their games now are all relatively luck-based. And, that's okay. And realize that it's not about you. You as the customer, the player, does not get to actually determine what the company does. Jamie Staples brought up the idea of what about the Venetian tournament where they guaranteed a prize pool. Anything above that amount of money that went into the prize pool would just got raked away. So if they guaranteed $100K but $200,000 worth of money went into the prize pool, they would just rake $100K. What do I think about that? Well, I think that tournament's not for professionals. Very clearly, right? And Venetian has done a whole lot of things to make it clear that they do not care about poker players. Like, making tournaments where they can rake an unlimited amount. Spending loads of money to try to get online poker banned, So, recognize that's the case, and maybe they're not for you. And they are for more, it's gonna sound bad, but I don't know, I was gonna say dumb recreational players, but I don't know if that's actually accurate. They're more for people who are just completely oblivious to what is actually going on. And, that's okay. There are a lot of completely oblivious people out there, and that's what they're doing. So, it is what it is. Pilson, I have no clue what you're referring to. D. Alex, I'm not reading a hand history right now. So, basically, was that for the whole series or just one of them? I'm not sure what they did, but I'm sure they're going to do more of them, right? Because would you rather rake more or less? Well, if you're trying to target oblivious people who don't even know what rake is, they just $100,000 prize pool. Well, against people like that, or when you're trying to fleece people like that, just rake them to death, right? I mean, that's their goal. They want the pros to win none, and they want to make the game not good for pros. Fine. It is what it is. That's not for you. Don't give people like that your business, right? So you need to understand the incentives that other people have to do things that they do. So, for example, take a casino, right? What are their incentives? What are they trying to do? Well, they want to make as much money as they can for their shareholders, in theory. Now, you can make the money immediately, like what PokerStars is doing to some extent, right? They're just going to jack up variance, kill the pros. Pros are going to quit. And then, inevitably, you'll be left with a lot of bad players who are all just paying the rake. And they'll eventually quit because nobody's going to win. Or if you win, you're going to win minimally. So, okay, fine. That's one option. Fleece them immediately, take the money, figure out something different. Other option is to shear the sheep instead of kill the sheep, which is what, in my mind, like good poker rooms do. They're willing to make less immediately today in exchange for making way more long-term, which is what like sites like Party Poker are doing, where they're giving away loads of money to the players. I actually floated the idea of just like completely get rid of rake at the micro stakes. Just completely get rid of it. Maybe 25 cent, 50 cent lower, no rake. Doesn't sound like a bad idea, right? May not cost them a ton. It'll let people win, etc., etc. Why make the game bad for pros? Because pros take money out of the economy. The game blew up when pros with pros fully engaged during the moneymaker boom. Well, you have to realize, Jimbo, that a lot of the deadish money has dried up. And the issue is that recreational players, they are willing to lose at some pace. And if they lose too quickly, they'll quit. That's basically it. And you have to make sure they're not losing at such a rapid pace. Okay, so we need them to lose slower, but the casinos are unwilling to make less money or decrease their rakes in the short term, or forever. If that's the case, then what can we do? Well, the only option is to take the other side, like the other person who's the other factor that is taking money out of the equation, and get rid of that. And that is the pros. So, I mean, I get the idea. And look, you have to realize that a lot of people, they cannot even fathom the idea of looking at it from the casino's point of view or from the bad player's point of view. A lot of people just think the bad players, they have unlimited money and they're just going to give it all away as fast as they can. But that's not true. A lot of people make $30,000 a year and are willing to lose $100 a week. Well, that's it, right? You're not getting more out of that guy than $100 a week. And that's okay. But realize that if that is the case, we may have very incorrect assumptions or presumptions about how poker will play out in the future, right? Because the games have not actually gotten all that much bigger. And I know a lot of people who were playing 5-10 no limit 5 or 10 years ago, and they're still playing 5-10 no limit. And money has been depreciated since then, so it's actually like they're playing half that size. And that's not good. Alex in Africa, good morning, good morning. Hope you're having a great day. What do I think about meetup games where the person putting on the meetup game gets some of the rake? Sure, right? I mean, do whatever you want. Why would that be bad? Why would that be bad? Because someone's using their social media presence or their popularity to make money? That doesn't sound bad to me. They're using their asset to make money. It's like saying, what do you think about Jonathan Little selling educational poker courses? Well, it's an asset that I have and I'm happy to sell it. You may say, and like meetup games provide value, right? They add value in the form of getting people in the casino, so they add value to the casino, and they add value to the players because the players get to come hang out with the person they like. Seems like a win-win, right? Whenever you can give win-wins, that's just ideal. Poker's a great hobby, it is. Do I study facial expressions? Not a ton. I have, there's a book a long time ago called Read 'em and Reap that I liked, and then Zach Elwood has a few books on poker tells, and he wrote a chapter for excelling at No Limit Hold'em, and those are good resources, I think. We're still working on getting a free roll together. We're taking our time. Look, things take time to make happen. And free roll is relatively low on the priority. It's very relatively low priority. First priority is get together people who are happy to help work and give away $10,000 for a main event seat to all of you. Didn't Kara write a book 50 years ago about poker tells? Yes. I would tell you that you probably want more current material. Kara's book is it's like very, very obvious is basically what it amounts to. There's nothing based on like, well, I don't know. You do your own work as you would like. 236 viewers, only 34 likes. It's a shame. People don't like my content. I guess, I mean, it is okay. It's okay. It is what it is. Maybe one day they will click the like button for me and they'll click the subscribe button for me. But until then, we will just sit here and keep doing it. Why would a rich businessman want to sit next to someone who is antisocial? Well, they wouldn't. Is this a statement or a question? Do you ever team up with anyone else to build a company or brand? Yes. I'm probably not going to be making content for your site because I already have a site. I don't know what you're talking about, Thomas. Send an email, jonathan@pokercoaching.com, and I will check it out. I'm not a big fan of making content for lots of other people's sites. That takes a lot of effort because I'd rather be making content for my site where I get to keep all of the money, right? Also, believe it or not, I don't make a whole lot of money from selling books. When you sell a book, am I allowed to tell my deals? Yeah, roughly. Whenever you sell a physical book, the author gets about 10% of the sale price. So if they sell the book for, let's say, $30, author gets $3. It's not all that much money. When you sell an ebook, you get a little bit more than that. You get more like, 35% to 50%, 35% to 70%, just depending on if you self-publish it. So if you sell a, let's say, $10 ebook and you self-publish it, you may get something like $7. But you're not getting rich off books, just so you know. So the idea of I'm going to make a site to try to sell people's books probably isn't a good idea unless you actually publish the books. Never seen my videos and didn't know I wrote books. Yeah, well, there's all the books back there. You see these books behind me? Those are my books. You'll buy ebooks now. Yeah, well, ebooks have no or little cost associated with them, right? Besides exactly the publisher and their work for it and the author's content. When you print a book, it actually costs a decent amount of money. How can you not like and subscribe? You're getting free content. Well, too much effort for some people, I suppose. Nomad says, you always go out of your way to make the Rex feel like they're having fun, you enjoy the night, socialize. That is part of the poker player's job, in your opinion. There you go, right there, in your opinion. That is something that gets a lot of people in trouble because they associate their opinion or the way they view the world to everyone else in the world. They think that the way I think about something must be accurate. Great example of this is the virus going on right now. A lot of people think that whatever they think about the virus is accurate. Funny enough, it seems like that's actually associated with politics somehow. Doesn't make sense to me at all. Sure it would if I studied it, but look, I'm not a politician, I'm not a scientist, and I certainly don't know anything about viruses. And I realize this, right? But so many people think either this virus is going to wipe out humanity, or they think it's going to do nothing. And it seems like it's based on politics, and I don't get it. I do not get how people can be so blinded by nonsense. Because in reality, the right answer is somewhere probably in the middle. And it doesn't even matter what the right answer is, because it's going to do one of the two, right? And you have to realize that the way you view the world doesn't necessarily matter. At least, it may not matter significantly. For example, I can't comprehend why people would think one way or the other about the virus. Yet, I realize they do, right? Whenever I'm playing poker, I can't fathom how people will fold over and over and over again to a maniac. It's obvious they're a maniac. One of my students sent me hands the other day. He said, I'm going to go to the casino, I'm going to play a whole lot of hands. I'm going to play like a maniac, and I'm going to see what happens. Cool. He says, I play like a maniac, and they just kept folding over and over and over and over and over and over again. Okay? How can you actually play every hand? Your opponents know you're a maniac, and they still fold. I can't fathom it. But they do. They do fold. Which means that my thought of, I can't believe these people are still folding to you, doesn't matter. Because it's obviously not accurate, right? That's actually nice because you have a very clear answer of whether or not you're right or wrong about things. Some things like viruses, for example, we will not know if you're right or wrong for quite a while. And the fun thing about that is if you're right, they'll celebrate. And if you're wrong, well, you won't act like you're wrong. This is the problem with a lot of people who are in the prediction markets on TV, because whenever they're right, they celebrate it. When they're wrong, they just act like it didn't happen. Oh, you should join the Libertarian Party. I'm probably not going to be joining any parties. I'm not the biggest partier. I don't even know where the Libertarian Party meets. If it's somewhere near my neighborhood, maybe I'll go to the party. But Let me know what time it starts. Usually I'm only available on specific days, usually Monday night, because on Monday night, Grandpa's here to watch the kids. So that's the only time I get to go out to a party. What about empathy? Why, in your opinion, is it an important skill for winning players? Because they understand why people do what they do. If you understand why people do what they do, then you can adjust to either give them what they want. For example, if you're a good, strong winning player and the bad players don't like playing with you because you're a jerk, figure out what you're doing wrong. He's talking about a political party. Well, I don't know much about politics, but I do love parties. So Monday nights, if there's a party at the Politicale, if that's a restaurant in New York City, kind of near my apartment, I might go. If there's a Politicale party, I will go. I think they have good scallops at Politicale. Is that right, or am I thinking about somewhere else? I forget. So you need to understand what people want and how to give it to them, right? And it's important to realize in poker there's an equation that happens. That equation is good players take money from the bad players in exchange for the good players' time. Bad players give their money for an experience. So, in theory, the good players are giving an experience, the winners are giving an experience to the losers. And you need to make sure as the winning player, you're giving the losing players the experience they want. Right? Oh, speaking of this coffee, I got a package in the mail yesterday from Purity Coffee. They sent me some coffee in the past. And look, this is like a tea bag, but it is actually coffee. Look at this giant tea bag. It's huge. Well, it's a coffee bag, I suppose. It's huge. And you drink it like tea, so I figured I'd give it a whirl. It tastes like coffee. It's a whole lot easier than grinding it up and all that. Let's see. You love my cash game masterclass. Great. You don't sound like a guy that does not know a lot about politics. I realize what I know is based purely on social media, which is asinine. So I don't actually know anything, right? Rec players don't mind losing if they're entertained. Well, that's not necessarily true. Depends on how fast they lose, right? Imagine you go and you play and you lose your buy-in every single time in about 20 minutes. And you do that every single time you play, or the vast majority of the time. Well, you're going to quit. And that's a lot of the cash games players experience in online poker because the game moves very quickly and because they are significantly outmatched. And that's not a good experience. So they need to figure out a way to change that. Global poker is legal. Why do you say it won't be around for long? Because they are currently playing with loopholes. When you play with loopholes, those loopholes get closed and then you get crushed. Also, you all may not know this, but apparently the government can almost like retroactively make rules pertaining to some things. And that's one that they may do that for. Do you know who was Stu Unger? That's what's written here. No, I never met Stu Unger. Did he have a big advantage against other players back then? Yeah, clearly. He probably just was bonkersly aggressive from what I understand. Yeah, so Greg, let me know about Politicale. I don't think it's BYOB. I'm pretty sure they have a good Cabernet selection there with scallops. I think they have scallops and Cabernet at Politicale. So let me know what time. Monday night, ideally. Set it up and I'll be there. Do you open limp and live no limit hold'em? No. Basically, no. How do you find fish in cash games? Realize that that's not what the game is so much anymore. Is there anywhere that you disagree with current mainstream GTO theory and tournament play? Yes, obviously. Yes, Clint. Yes, obviously. Go watch the most recent video I made where Michael Acevedo reviewed my hand history. He went through a few spots where he showed me the solver, said exactly the play that I made, and then he went through and told me why. And I have to default to Michael because he's a world-class online player who's probably better at poker than me. And he understands GTO a million times better than me. So that goes to a spot where 30 big blinds deep, I raise 8-7 suited. From early position, big blind calls, it comes queen 7-2. He checks. That's the spot where I thought I was supposed to bet like 99% of my range. Turns out that's what the solver says. So I bet. Opponent raised. And Michael's logic here is that getting raised is such a disaster. Just let it go check on the flop, call the turn, call the river. You never get stacked, and life is easy. And in a tournament, you probably want to avoid the spots where you get stacked. So there you go, right? Stu is blessed with amazing natural talent and cursed with many addictions. The Nomad. Maybe you knew Stu Unger, maybe you didn't, but it's very difficult to say what you think about specific people not knowing them. Be very careful with that idea, that you can think that you know about people without actually knowing them. It's the funniest thing in the world to me when like random poker players who don't actually play poker at a high level are discussing who the best poker players are. Like they're completely oblivious. They're completely oblivious because they've literally never played those games. Right? So if you've never played those games, how are you supposed to know who the best players are? Figure that out. There's no way you can. I don't know a thing about Stu Unger. Never met the guy. I know what I see in a movie, right? And I know what I've talked to Mike Sexton about. But that's the closest I've been to Stu Unger. And doesn't mean I know. What's my website? JonathanLowellPoker.com and PokerCoaching.com. What is my email? Jonathan@PokerCoaching.com. Or support@PokerCoaching.com. What were the skills? Number one skill. Discipline, not patience, Clarence. Discipline. Discipline, then the ability to learn from others, and then empathy. So you, as a good high-stakes pro, remember, these are the 3 skills of the biggest winners in poker. They know how to give the losing players what they want. And then they do it. And if you don't know how to give the losing players what they want, you may find as you move up in stakes, you have a hard time getting in games. Also, with any interaction, you have to give people what they want, right? For example, I would like all of you to pay me for educational poker content. Okay, fine. How do I do this? Well, first things first, I make educational poker content. Next, I give you a load of content for free. Right? Like this right here, right? This is completely free. We do all sorts of free stuff. You look at the YouTube channel. I've been doing it for 7 years or something. And before, I did none of that stuff, right? Back in the day, when I had a training site, I've had a training site for 13 years, 14 years. It's older than half the people in the chat, probably. So 14 years I've had a training site. And for the first 7 of it, it was just like an epic failure. And why? Because I wasn't actually getting out there and giving away a lot of stuff and basically giving people a sample to some extent, right? If your content was so good, why didn't you go play 5K on PokerStars and become a millionaire? I'm already a millionaire. Been a millionaire for quite a while. The answer why I'm not grinding hard online every day is because I don't particularly enjoy that and because I have a wife and 2 kids. I'd rather be a daddy at this point in my life because I have enough money to do whatever I want. Actually, not to do whatever I want. I can't go buy a jet or anything. I don't want a jet. I don't want a yacht. I would probably get one of those memberships where you chop the jet. I actually looked into that. It's something like, what was it? I think it was $40K a year out the door for 1 flight a month or something. So it's kind of high. That was for a small jet. I don't like small private jets. It's going to sound bad, but if you can't stand up in it, what's the point? And I've been spoiled by being on big private jets. Going back to making friends and empathy, right? Make friends with people who have their own private jets. And then inevitably, you get to go on their private jets for free. I'm trying to think. I've probably been on 12, 15 private jets. And I don't think I paid for any of them. They're just all friends who are hey, hop on, let's go talk about poker. So maybe I paid for them in the form of talking about poker. But it is way nicer than other options. You still want to earn cash flow from your content. Yes, of course. I'd rather make money than not make money. You're going to find that once you learn that you can make money from your brain and from helping others, you'd rather do that than not. Also, this is a very bad mindset. You think once you get money that you should retire? I completely disagree with this. I can already tell you I'm never going to retire. I'm not the type of person who's just going to be packing it up and quitting. So many people think that the goal in life is to make X amount of money and then quit. And look, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that idea. But at some point you stop doing the work for the money and you start doing the work because you love the work. And if you love the work, you would do it for free. I wake up and I do this for free, right? And it's like, why am I doing this? It's because I enjoy it. I want to. I mean, I was talking to Jamie Staples about this yesterday, right? About how like the best way to get into anything is to just start doing it for free. And if you start doing it for free, then maybe something comes from it, maybe it doesn't. Like back in the day, I had my training site. I was losing money every month. I think at one point I was losing like $4,000 a month on this training site. And I just still kept doing it. Why? Because I liked it. I had enough money even then, 10 years ago, to where I was fine spending $48K a year to give good content to my students. And not even spending, like losing, after they paid me. So I was still just like losing $48K a year. And I did that for, 5-6 years, like I said. And I was happy to do it because I realized I was helping the community. And I stuck with it. Eventually we figured it out. Excelling at No Limit Hold'em is a great book. It is. Let's go back to this. The idea of collaborating and helping people, right? Take a look at this book right here. Excelling at No Limit Hold'em. This is a wide range of people. Wide range of people. And some of these people don't actually like each other. They have public spats on the internet. And for some reason, they all want to work with me. Why do they want to work with me? Because I give them what they want. What did most of the coaches want out of this project? The answer wasn't money. They wanted to have a book. They wanted to be part of a book. They wanted to help the community. They wanted to give back. And a lot of them wanted it to be easy. And I made it easy for them. I wanted a book with lots of people. Okay? They wanted to have an easy time writing their chapter. I mean, solid big book, right? It's not child's play book, it's a big book. And I did that for them, right? So it's a good example where I gave to them, they gave to me. The upcoming book, Excelling at Tough No Limit Hold'em Games, same story, right? The coaches really didn't actually do a whole lot of work on this book beyond providing me lots of content to use. And then I took that and made it into a great book. And that's exciting. What's the difference between my site and some of the other sites? The work I do is very applicable to the games that you are playing. The problem with a lot of the other training courses is it is not applicable in the least bit, and it is very, very tailored towards already high-stakes crushers. I'm not trying to teach the absolute best players in the world, because in reality I'm not going to teach them much at all, because they're already world-class. And I want my work to be very cheap and very accessible. So we do have lots of low-level content, but we also have high-level content, because inevitably over the last few years, since I started pokercoaching.com, we have grown players from being not good poker players to now high-level players. Now we have many of the absolute best players in the world making content, which is exactly what you're going for. What's the longest streak of live tournaments with no cashes? I think I've had 40 twice. That's like normal. If you ask any good pro, it's going to be something like that. I was pretty lucky both times. On either end, I won a World Poker Tour tournament, so that was good. What makes you a pro? Tough question. In theory, a professional. Well, Google professional. I think it's someone who makes most of their income from a specific thing, I think. So if you make $5,000 a year and it all comes from poker, then in theory you're a pro, right? What makes a good pro, that's very different. Can you recommend a PLO book? Jay Nandez has a PLO book I have that I'm publishing with D&B Poker coming out soon. It's basically done. Just a matter of wrapping it up. My job at D&B Poker is to source content. Let me show you some of the books I sourced. You all may not know this. Modern Poker Theory. Michael Acevedo is the GTO expert. I had him write this book. This is a grown-up book here. There's math, there's equations, there's ranges. It's a hard book. But if you can understand everything in this book and implement it, you're going to crush the games. I had that book made. I had these two books. We had this book. Here's some more books. A book that came out recently. Mastering Mixed Games. Bill Lenny decided to, I was trying to find someone to write mixed game books. I knew he was a crusher. And he has this book discussing all sorts of games. It's about 20 pages, 30 pages on each game. Actually, that's not true. Let's see. Yeah, 30-ish pages on each game. We have Limit Hold'em, Limit Omaha 8 or better, PLO 8 or better, 40 Big Blind Cap, because that's what they play online and in live games. Stud High, Raz, Stud 8 or better, Deuce 7 Triple Draw, Badoogie, Badacey, Badoogie, Badacey. Deuce 7 No Limit Single Draw. This is a good book. Life's a Gamble. Mike Sexton's biography. I love this book. He has some photos in here. Wonder what I have to do to get photos in my book. How do I do that? Lots and lots of epic photos from Mike Sexton back in the day. That was fun. This is actually a really good book. I like this biography a lot. Probably my favorite poker biography. Sorry, Phil Hellmuth. We made the Poker Brad happen too. We had the Phil Hellmuth biography. It has lots of photos as well. I like pictures for some reason. If you like pictures, there is a book called Poker Face 2. It's a giant coffee table book. It's huge. Maybe I'll show it to you next time I'm here. I want to buy the rights to that book. If you know the guy in charge of that book, let me know. I'll buy the rights and I'll get it in all the poker players' hands. It's one of those projects where I'll end up losing $100K on it, but it'll be very good for the poker community. What about that book, Bluffs? Yes. So none of these are the books that I didn't write any of these books. These are all books that I helped make for the poker world. I didn't write any of these. All of those are the ones that I wrote. How do you set your daily research and output goals or when writing a book? I don't do research. I already know what I'm doing. And I don't have a daily output. I write until I'm done writing. I think a lot of people get in their heads like, I have to do X today, and if I don't do X today, I'm a failure. I just do what I want to do. If I feel like writing, I write. And if I don't feel like writing, I don't write. What printer do we use? I actually don't know. I'm not in charge of that. My job is to get the good content and edit and to put into a readable format. Like some of these books didn't take much work at all. Like Dylan's mixed game book didn't take a whole lot of didn't take a whole lot of work. Whereas like Modern Poker Theory took a lot of work. Oh, back to a PLO book. We have a PLO book coming out by Jay Nandez. Probably at the World Series this year in June. So I'll tell you to wait and get that. Why are online sites becoming like slot machine site? It becomes less profitable to play for serious players. Well, why do you think you need to be able to make a profit? Again, going back to empathy, why do you think that you need to be able to make money from online poker? Think about that for a second. Take a second and actually think about that. Why do professional poker players need to or have to make money from poker? And the answer cannot be that's the way it used to be. Or that's what makes poker poker, because these are all like opinions, right? How can you get a book on the market? Write a good book and present it to a publisher. Any thoughts on Phil Galfond heads-up match? Surprised with the results? I'm not surprised with the results. He's playing good heads-up PLO players. Did Phil run bad or get outclassed? Probably both. Saved, I have no clue what you're saying. All right. So yeah, essentially, I think the empathy thing is very important. It's something a lot of people lack because they think it's all about them. If you're not playing to win money, then what's the point of playing poker? What's the point of playing blackjack? What's the point of playing craps? What's the point of playing roulette? To get your gamble on, right? And maybe that's what the people who own the sites want their site to be. Like Venetian, right? Like we discussed earlier, they do everything they can to try to make the game bad for the pros. Okay, fine. So, don't play there. Vote with your actions. Read above. Look, Nomad, you have to understand that, like, we're doing a lot here. I don't have loads of time to go back and read everything you're writing. There's literally 400 people here right now, all trying to talk to me. When you're getting a Magic or Hearthstone stream, I actually haven't played Magic at all in a while, and Hearthstone, I play Hearthstone for like 5 minutes at a time. After playing professionally and living mainly off your profits for 20 years, you have a ton of both live lessons you can teach people. Write the book, man. Write the book and then present it to a publisher. That's the answer. So many people come to me with an idea, and they say, all right, I have this idea. Pay me money now, and then I'll write the book. No, write the book because you want to write the book, right? Like if you want to start streaming on Twitch, don't try to go to a site and say, oh, you need to pay me to stream. No, do it for free. Do it because you want to do it for you. Do the things that you want to do to make you happy without the idea that you're going to be making any financial return, because I can already tell you, if you're not a published author, already, and you're not a well-known poker player, your book's probably not going to do all that great. It's just not. So write it because you want to write it. And that's it. And if you don't want to write it, if it's like a job for you and you're going to hate it, don't do it because you're not going to make a ton of money from it. And that's exactly it. Motivation isn't money. So write it. And then you can just self-publish it. That's the great thing about today is you can literally self-publish a book in like an hour. You can have the book on Amazon, self-published, in a format where they can print it for you and mail physical copies in like literally an hour. It won't be like the nicest thing ever. Like here, I'll show you some of these books. I have these little books. So if a book is this small, if a book's less than about 250 pages, you're going to have a hard time getting it published by a physical publisher because they won't be able to put it in stores. Speaking of which, if you're not already very popular, you're going to have a hard time getting your books in stores because bookstore space is getting consolidated and more books are being written, right? So anyway, small books must be self-published. But I mean, look, this is not like the most fanciest thing in the world. I mean, it still has images and range charts and stuff, but it's not super fancy. And this like took an hour to publish on Amazon, and it's one of my best sellers because it's just a short, actionable guide. It costs like $10 or something. All right. The like button will set you free. Yeah, click like. Click subscribe. That goes a long way to helping wherever you're watching know that you enjoy my content. All right. We're going to pack it up. I'm not going to be here Friday or Monday. What's my input on checking in the dark in the cash game? You can probably check in the dark, and it doesn't actually cost you anything because you probably don't want to have a leading range. When you're deep stacked, you literally should never have a leading range if you're trying to play GTO. If you're not trying to play GTO, then maybe you do want a leading range. This book is called Strategy for Beating Small Stakes Poker Cash Games. Just go to Amazon and search Jonathan Little, and all my books will come right up. Or you can go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/books. They'll all come up. When you see me playing live while streaming, guess I have to make a final table of some sort. You don't really get to pick when you play live and stream. It's more like you just show up and they put you on a stream or they don't put you on a stream. All right, have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. Do you trust playing on unlicensed, unregulated sites? Actually, I probably do, but I would never play for substantial money, so maybe the answer is no. JonathanLittlePoker.com/USA for my thoughts on books, or my thoughts on unregulated sites within America. What's my best book for a beginner? This one, Strategies for Beating Small Stakes Poker Tournaments or Cash Games. Louis Philippe, always here taking notes, doing good work. 3 things you need. 3 skills, traits, call it what you want, of top pros. Discipline. And someone said discipline is not a skill, but I think discipline actually has to be developed. Obviously, you can naturally have some discipline, but sometimes you have to work at it, and you have to get better at studying, and you have to get better at playing long hours. You have to get better at making the right decision because it may not come naturally to you. So discipline, the willingness and ability to learn from others, being open-minded, and then also empathy. Patience is a skill too. Maybe it's a skill, but it's not. I mean, that's like part of discipline. Why does everyone think patience is so important? I actually don't think it's all that important. Unless you're just like a lunatic. But I mean, most people are not naturally lunatics. At what point should you start studying with solvers? Is it needed to reach high stakes? Actually, probably not. You need to find people who have done the study for you, like at pokercoaching.com, and then learn all of the common spots from them. Which is what we have at pokercoaching.com. Go to pokercoaching.com/GTO. There you go. We've already done a lot of the work in the very common spots. Michael Acevedo has gone through a lot of common scenarios for the Poker Coaching members. And that's all there for you. So pokercoaching.com/GTO. I'm doing a webinar with Michael tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. He's going to be reviewing my hands and telling me everything I did wrong. I'll be back on next Wednesday, a week from today, because I have a company retreat with my employees. And that'll be that. Instagram says I have 38 seconds. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great, great day. Have a great week. Are patience and discipline the same thing? No. Sometimes the discipline play is to be a lunatic. Say your opponents are all too tight. Discipline is making the play that you need to make when you need to make it, which means being crazy. Patience is just being a nit. Don't be a nit. Don't be a nit. If you're a nit, you're not going to rise to the top of anything. Have fun.